All right, guys. So, welcome to another episode of the Oh Hell No podcast. Tonight, I have Black Watts Cycling Club. I have the founders, Chris Harvell and Chad. No, Chad is, yeah, Chad Bennett.
Yeah.
And Akil is not here, but if he is able to join us, we will be plugging him in as soon as he's available. But welcome to the podcast, guys. I'm so glad to have you here.
Thank you.
Excited to be
Happy to
here.
be
Thank
here.
you.
Yeah,
Yeah.
absolutely.
So I want to start off with Chris, tell me 3 things that you're passionate about.
That's easy. Spider-Man, my family, and I usually have 4. So I would say Spider-Man, my family, and the color blue.
Okay. Chad, what about you?
3 things: my family, cycling now, and I would say my business. I'm an entrepreneur, so my business.
Okay, and that's perfect because I was going to ask you guys, what do you do professionally? Before we start talking about Black Watts, I just want to, get to know you guys a little bit. So, Chad, I'll start with you because we're with you. So, what do you do professionally?
Yeah, so I'm a talent consultant. I own a business called Creative. I basically source talent for creative and marketing organizations around the country. I've been doing that for 3 years, and my primary focus within creative and marketing is making sure organizations have diverse talent. So that's my specialty.
All right. So you said you've been doing this at this position for 3 years. So you said you were also passionate about this business. What do you think is really the passion for you in this business? Like, what do you enjoy the most about it?
Because my efforts are focused on diverse talent, especially since diverse talent has been marginalized for as long as I could ever imagine. Like finding opportunities for people of color it's been rewarding. Especially just thinking about my own experiences in the past, trying to find opportunities and being on the other side and having a chance to fight for a person of color to get the right opportunity at the right organization is something that, like, it's going to sound weird, but it does warm my heart, honestly.
No, I
So
love that.
yeah, so that's what makes it super passionate, like business for me is just supporting our own community.
Yeah, absolutely. I agree because I've been on the other side of things where you're looking for a position and you want something that, you fit and you just can't find it. And then the recruiter, it's like there's not a connection there. So I totally get what you're saying. I love that. All right, Chris. So tell us, what do you do professionally?
So I actually wear a lot of hats. One of them definitely is a Gandalf, the white hat. No, but so my wife and I are entrepreneurs. We have a pediatric dental company that we've had now for about 12 or 13 years. I think this is we're going on to our 13th year, and our focus is on educating and providing the highest quality care and state-of-the-art facilities for all children, irrespective of socioeconomic status. So we're actually in downtown Newark, and we are in downtown Newark intentionally, right? Because we wanted to make sure that we were in the community with the greatest need. And, we built this palace. We have an 8,000 square foot facility that's on the 11th floor with like these massive windows that you can see downtown Newark. You can see Manhattan skyline way off in the distance. It's far, but we can still see it. But from the ground up, we built it because we wanted it to be a place that was kid friendly and focused on children. And where my wife is a board certified pediatric dentist. So she sets out clinical direction and she's absolutely phenomenal. She's on a number of boards across the state. She's an editor. I'm sorry, she's a contributor, I should say, to Parents Magazine. And she's been doing that for the last 7 or 8 years. So she's on the board of Parents Magazine and many other things. We also have a foundation. It's called the Dental Kidz Foundation, where we raise money for girls from sub-Saharan Africa and the Caribbean to attend Spelman College.
Oh,
And
wow.
we've had that for about 6 years now. We're fully endowed. And every year we continue to give by way of a few marquee events that my wife leads, and it's called the Iconic Glass Dinner Experience, whereby she raises awareness of chefs of color from around the world, and she brings them together for 5 nights in different locations, so in different cities, where the I would say the final event is in New York City at the James Beard House. James Beard is considered to be the father of American cuisine, so it's a great opportunity because there aren't that many chefs of color that actually have an opportunity to cook there. So it's an amazing thing. It's actually an amazing thing. And then I also teach at General Assembly a class in data analytics, which is fun. I enjoy teaching in technology as a whole. So it's great teaching adults how to be more tech savvy. And then also I have another business whereby I help healthcare professionals with their data actually and how to understand their patient trends and that sort of thing. So yeah, and I stay busy. And I have 5 daughters. So, like that's another job. So I can't
Listen,
have it this time.
hold on. Where do you guys find time for all of this stuff? You are super busy. I thought I
Yeah,
was bad.
yeah. But
Like,
I'll tell you, and I think Chad agrees, right? Like people that are driven and that are passionate to do good work and to make and help others, right? There always seems like enough time to get something done, right? Because getting something done is always better than nothing, and it becomes infinitely easier when you connect with others that have that same passion and that same drive and that same level of commitment, right? It just kind of builds on each other, and it's a multiplier effect. So,
yeah.
it's definitely difficult to do alone, but when you start linking up with the right people, it just becomes so much easier.
Yeah, that's definitely true. And I love that your wife is a dentist. I love watching women dentists work. Like, I just love it. So that's awesome. All right. So, how did you and Chad and Akil meet?
Cycling. Chad, you want to tell a story?
Yeah, so Akil and I are neighbors. He lives literally across the street from me. And I met Chris through cycling. So I think it was just a random Saturday ride that I met Chris, and he just pulled up. I didn't know who this guy was. I forgot who invited him, but he was more than welcome. And that was it. We started cycling. That was the connection for us.
Nice. So, whose idea or where did the Black Watts Cycling Club idea come from?
Yes, good question. So uh, it started with the Father's Day ride. Like we were in the thick of COVID, we were all in lockdown. There was a lot of social injustice happening. And, like Father's Day was the first opportunity where it kind of felt somewhat okay to come outside for some reason. And so, with my wife's blessing, I told her I wanted to go on a bike ride and I wanted to invite some friends. And she was like, yes, you should do it. Like Father's Day is the only time that we kind of like knew we had to ourselves. Like we knew that that was our day. So whatever we wanted to do on that day was up to us. And so I had a group chat of dads that I invited on this Father's Day ride. Didn't think anything of it. I just wanted to be safe and I wanted us to have fun. We did that ride. It was like 14 miles. We helped each other climb this crazy hill at the time. We finished together, we stopped together. And when we finished that ride, I think we all realized that this was something special. It was the first time all of us had gotten together collectively and we could kind of talk through like what was going on in our lives, whether it be with our family, our children, our jobs. And we said, we want to do this every weekend. And that's all it was. It was just a weekend ride where we got together and we kind of like talked through what was bothering us for the week. It became almost like a therapy session for some of us. And like through the rides, I said, you know what, let's make this a club. Like let's make this real. And I think based on everything that was happening out in the world, Black Watts felt right. You know, like Watts is another term for power. And here we are, a bunch of Black dads on bikes, you know, pedaling together, helping one another get up hills. And it was almost a metaphor for what we were experiencing at that moment in time. So, and it stuck, and here we are.
So I want to ask you both, do you think there is a stereotype regarding Black people and outdoor activities, especially cycling? And how did you two discover cycling?
Yeah, I mean, there like stereotype seems like it's nowhere near the proper word to describe just how marginalized not only Black people, just people of color are in the sport of cycling, right? Like everybody rides a bike. Like literally at some point in their lives, they were introduced to a bike. But for some reason, if you look on social, if you read cycling rags, look at a cycling magazine, you just see white people primarily, right? And that's just wild to all of us, right? We just think that's incredibly insulting, quite frankly, right? And one of the things that, as Chad mentioned about Black Watts and what makes us kind of who we are, is that we're really focused on camaraderie, right? Like when he described that story, that really is a story about camaraderie and people coming together in fellowship. And yes, we started as a group of Black dads, but really we're a club for every person, right? So, for example, Keisha, do you ride a bike?
I'm a little sus on a bike. Like it's, you know what I'm
But you
saying?
have ridden
But
one
I have
before, right?
ridden one before.
Right. So you're a bike rider, right?
Okay.
Like, so my dad introduced me to bike riding when I was a kid. I would have my training wheels and follow him around. And my kids were introduced to a bike the same way, right? Teaching them how to ride. And I'm pretty sure Chad has a similar story, and Akil. It's like every probably human, at least American, probably has a very similar story, right? But it's just the cycling industry, you would never think that we exist, right? Chad, wouldn't you say?
Absolutely. I mean, if you think back, when you think of cycling, you think of Lance Armstrong,
Right.
you know, and you don't think of Major Taylor. Major Taylor, he was cycling before Lance Armstrong was born, you know? So it's just, there was never any marketing push for us to be represented in the sport. You know, there was other cyclists who were BMX riding and who were mountain biking, you know, they don't get the same accolades and exposure that Lance Armstrong got. So that's part of the problem with the sport that, you know, I'm hoping will change in the future, especially with the likes of like Rasan Bahadi and the Justin Williams and the Corey Williams, the Williams brothers in general, is that they get the same level of exposure some of their counterparts are getting or have gotten.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
Mm-hmm.
for sure. Even
But and also Keisha, I'm sorry, one other person, she doesn't get mentioned a lot, but Catherine Knox, right? She's called Kitty Knox, right? Like she was a woman pioneer that felt like, okay, this is the way that not only I can have transportation, but this is a way that women can be more mobile and active, right? So she's riding around in skirts, right? In the late 19th century. So, you have Kitty, who basically is put together like a female transportation company, if you will, right? Like, and then you have Major Taylor, who at the time was like the fastest man in the world. But we're erased from cycling history. And like Chad said, you think of as an American cyclist, the guy who was doping.
yeah. And it's funny, I see a lot of young Black kids doing tricks on bicycles, and I always wonder, like, how comes we don't see them like competing, because they're so good. Like if you ever watch them ride down the street with the whole group and the stuff that they do on these bicycles and motorcycles, it's insane, but you never see them out there like in one of these competitions. So I definitely agree with you guys. So tell us what members can expect when they join Black Watts, who can join, and what the benefits are.
Right,
Anyone can
Chris.
start with that.
Yeah. So, well, first, I think, there's some, well, to become a member of Black Watts, it's a $50 annual fee. So we wanted to make sure that the cost of entry was relatively low. Because, and what that does is that helps us with just some basic operating costs and planning and organization and things like that. But really, what I would say is, even yourself, Keisha. Yes, absolutely. But the thing is, right, like our arms are open to beginners, intermediate riders. Like we want people to begin their cycling journey with us, right? We're focused on education. We like to do it with style, right? Like we are unapologetically Black people, but that doesn't mean that we don't welcome other ethnicities and races and cultures of people, right? But we would love for everyone to begin their journey with us. Or if your journey is already started, we would love to help you further along that journey by helping you by way of education, talking to you about some basic things, or just kind of kicking it on a bike.
Yeah.
Like if you want to get it in and ride fast, we can do that. If you want to chill and just pedal and have a social gathering on the bike, we can do that. Right. So I would say, one of the things that makes cycling great, and Chad and Akil will agree, is the camaraderie you feel when you're riding in a group with other people. When Chad described that Father's Day ride, that's what that was about. Like we were all coming together to just have a common goal. And at that time, it was just getting out, being amongst each other, de-stressing, right? Whatever that stress may have been at that time. And the same thing still applies today. And we would love to have more men and women join, whether you're experienced or not. But if you are inexperienced, start your journey with us.
Okay. So I follow you guys on Instagram, and I saw that you guys did a trip to Miami. Was this your first trip, like as a club? And what did you guys plan for your time in Miami?
Yes, that was our first trip as a club. We were down there to support another cycling club called Level Up Cycling. They were hosting a ride that was called Pedal with the Pros, where it was a 2-day event. The first day was a ride just with the club. The second day, we were actually riding with some pros, Rasan Bahati, Justin Williams, CJ Williams, Dante Young. Am I forgetting someone, Chris? I think I am. I
Yeah,
feel
well,
like I
yeah.
am.
I mean, there were a lot, but those are the more popular names.
Yeah. Yep. And yeah, I mean, for us, we wanted to be safe. We all have families, so we did the right thing by just making sure we all got tested before we went down there, and we had a personal chef that made 3 meals a day for us, because we
And
just wanted
snacks.
to, and snacks, yes. And shout out to Chef Don.
Chef
Um,
Don.
but yeah, we just wanted to go down there with the sole purpose of just riding. Like that was our goal. We weren't down there to party. We weren't down there to do any sightseeing. We all have been to Miami a million times prior. We were down there with the sole purpose of getting on our bikes and riding. One of the things that's really challenging for us, because we live in New Jersey, is we don't get an opportunity to ride on flat roads at all. Every time we get on our bikes, we are going up and down a hill. So this was an opportunity for us to finally see what it's like to ride on flat roads for more than 3 miles at a time. And so that was it for us. We took 3.5 days of just pure riding. We rode our bikes, we went home, we ate, and we slept. That was it.
And rinse and repeat. And
Yeah.
Keisha, I can't stress enough that what Chad is describing, because here in Northern New Jersey, right, and for your listeners that may not be from our area, it's a cyclist paradise in some instances if you want diversity in your riding, your riding terrain, right? Because we have tons of undulating roads, which we have roads that kind of tilt upwards for 7, 8, 12% grades, you know. But going down to Miami, Chad, was like a vacation from that, right? It was like a vacation. It was a cycling vacation from the terrain that we have to be on. And we're really expanding the to the rest of the club, and we're trying to encourage other club members to come out, talk to your spouses, your significant others. It's the second weekend in December. The weather was perfect. So, like if you're talking about a trip that's purely focused on cycling, what more would you want in December than to have 80-degree weather with no humidity, where you're getting up at 6 a.m. and you're pedaling your bike until 7 p.m. at night, right?
Right.
And you're doing it with other people who share the same love and joy of pedaling their bike.
Yeah.
And it's an opportunity for us to increase exposure. I think, we're pretty well known in the New Jersey area. We want to go to other cities and start a Black Watch chapter in other major cities and towns. So we wanted to just go down to Miami, make it known that we're here, meet some people, just preach the gospel of Black Watch and hope people will join. Like, you do not have to be in New Jersey or New York City to join Black Watch. Right. You can be from anywhere in the world and join Black Watch.
Right.
Yeah, absolutely. And I was saying that there are definitely health benefits too to, riding your bicycle and getting that workout in. So that there's also that.
Absolutely. Yes.
What do you think is a misconception that most people have about cycling or joining a cycling club? Is there anything that you've heard from new members that you're kind of like, oh man?
Yeah, that you got to be in shape to ride your bike, right? Like, you can't start riding with other people until you get in shape enough to ride with other people. Like, that's like one of the biggest misconceptions, right? Like,
yeah.
I think one of the things that I love most about our club, and it's a key pillar of who we are, which is we meet you where you are, right? If you've only ridden your bike around the park at a leisurely pace, or if your bike has a basket, right? We've had people go on rides with us with baskets and sweaters tied around their neck, right? Like, you're not
city
doing
bikes,
that, right?
Yeah.
City bikes, heck, we've even had circus bikes, right?
We've had circus bikes.
Yeah,
Yes.
we've had all types of riders bring their equipment, and the biggest thing is just camaraderie. Right? We just want you to feel like you're able to share in the joy of being in the open road, in the open space, with just like-minded people who share the same interest. And that cannot be overstated.
It's so
Yeah,
funny you guys said that about the bicycle, because one of my questions was, tell us why a BMX mountain bike won't work for the cycling club. And you just like demolished that because it's had any bike. So, Chad, you want to say something, but once you finish your thought, tell us, like, what bikes can we bring to this? Like, is it everything? Anything?
No, honestly, it's the connection is not the bike itself. The connection is the human being on two wheels and pedaling.
Okay.
So whether it's, and matter of fact, you could be on a 3-wheel bike, because those exist.
Those exist, yes.
So that is the connection. So I don't care if you're on a BMX, I don't care if you're on a city bike, circus bike, your little daughter's bike, if you can ride it, ride it. The connection is being on the ride and being able to kind of like fellowship with the person that's riding alongside you. You don't need to have the most expensive bike. You don't need to have the cleanest bike. Your outfit doesn't even need to match. Wear a helmet. That is all that we ask. You bring your bike and a helmet.
And water.
And water, yes. And we'll take care of the rest.
Yeah, yeah, absolutely. And I would say BMX people that ride the BMX bikes though, like they're a special breed because they tend to do tricks and wheelies
I
and
own one. I have one.
yes,
Yeah.
Chad does
So
that one. He's proud
I
of it.
I own a BMX bike. So the more than if you can keep up, like going up the hills, especially where we live, not saying keep up like we're gonna like pass you or drop you or leave you behind, but like we have some really challenging hills, so like obviously you want to make sure you're in the right fitness condition to ride, like we don't want anyone falling out on any of our rides.
Yeah.
Your health and safety are the most important things when you join our ride. So we just want to make sure you're prepared for the ride.
Yeah.
Right.
And Keisha, I would say that that's the biggest thing, right? Like, yes, there's a waiver and stuff like that when you join the club, but really it's for everyone's health and safety. So for example, if you have asthma, if you have a heart condition, just let us know,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
In the same way, if you feel tired, let us know. If you feel lightheaded, let us know. If you feel extremely thirsty, let us know, right? Because we know that these are signs and symptoms of things to come. If you did not
Mhm.
eat before you started riding, let us know because we also we've seen a lot.
If
we
you had drinks the night before a
Hold
ride,
on. Let
let
us
us
know
know.
because all these things because okay, so riding a bike is different than running, right? Because when you run, your heart rate elevates really quickly. So when you're out on your bike and you're pedaling, you can pedal for 5 or 6 miles and you won't feel the same cardiovascular stress that you will if you try to run 2 miles,
Mm.
right? But the difference is you're still under cardiovascular stress. You
Mm.
won't feel it the same, but you still are, right? So it's important that, before every ride, we do our pre-ride conversation about certain things. Do you have water? Make sure everybody has nutrition. If you feel tired, use the bathroom, like all that kind of stuff. But really along the way, we want to make sure that everyone's okay. So if you are on that BMX bike and we know the route that we're on, even if it's in like a local park and there is an incline in that local park, we want to make sure that you're going to be okay. Right? Because one of the big advantages of road bikes, for example, versus a BMX bike is that road bikes have gears and you can use the mechanical advantage of your gears to make the pedaling up that hill a little easier. Whereas on a BMX bike, you kind of have one single gear and you will have to fight that gear probably going up that elevation.
Got it. Okay. That definitely makes sense. So, from the club perspective, what is the hardest part of starting and running a club like this? Like, what have been some of your struggles in putting this stuff together?
I would say just getting everyone together for a bike ride.
Mhm.
When you're dealing with members that have, children and spouses and events and holidays,
Mhm.
it kind of makes it a little bit tough to get everyone together for a ride. Oh,
Mhm.
Chris is getting comfortable. um, and then I think the other piece is just like everyone understanding the vision. Everyone is cool to ride, but we're not just riding our bikes. We are giving back to the community, and so we do ask that our members partake in their time or, quite frankly, funds to help us give back to the community, whether it's Isaiah House that we partner with in terms of clothes and toiletries and food, or our turkey drive where we're giving back to the community, we're giving them full meals. So just making sure that everyone's like, hey, you're not just joining Black Bots because you want to just join Black Bots for whatever that reason is, but like the bigger piece is the community. Like we all got to where we are today because we came from our community, and so we want to make sure our members are doing that as well.
Yeah. Anything to add, Chris?
No. Chad nailed it. I mean, community is a huge part of what we do, and you know, it it cannot be understated how important community is for us. So we do a Thanksgiving drive, we do a Christmas kind of toy drive, we do a back to school drive. We have another event that's centered around Father's Day. It's a Father's Day ride to celebrate fathers, right? Um, so like community is paramount to what we do, and it's something that I'm sure a lot of clubs and organizations that do things as a group, they want to reach out and have their impact in the community. But look, like this, for example, I'm very proud to say that this past Thanksgiving, we gave out, a 5-piece meal, like, 25-pound turkey, stuffing, yams, cranberry sauce, apple pie, mashed potatoes to like over 300 families,
Wow.
right? Like that's something that's real, that we've done, and we're excited about it, and we're happy about it, and we want to send out the good news. And the same thing, right? We work with a shelter called an Isaiah House, where there are mothers and women there, and we made sure every child there had a present. Like so, it's small things like that. Like in Chad, I can't remember, but what was it, like over 200 some odd like kind of like back to school packs where we had like book bags and supplies and all that sort of stuff, for children who didn't have.
Hmm. Yeah.
I love
Mhm.
that. That's amazing.
And not only this, and this wasn't just a money give, right? Because it's easier for people to say, yeah, we give to the community. Let me just write this check or make this electronic payment. No, we're standing outside, meeting the families, meeting the children, like making sure that they understand the faces behind and the people behind, you know, this charitable giving and why the community means so much to us.
Yeah, that's really nice. So what would you guys say you're most proud of regarding Black Wise? And I think you just said it, right? But is there anything, Chad, that you want to add, as far as you guys, how long has it been since you guys started this club?
This is our coming up on our second season,
Okay.
like officially. Yeah.
All right.
Yep.
So is there anything, any milestones that you hit that you're really proud of besides giving? I mean, that's an amazing accomplishment. I love that. Um, I don't know if there's anything that can top that, but
I mean, we grew our numbers in terms of giving back, whether it was the toy drive, the Thanksgiving drive, like we surpassed what we did last year. That was huge. And to see those organizations so thankful, like that's so dope to me. So I
yeah,
think that ranks at the top. Secondly, I would say our Father's Day event. You know, this one was, I had no idea it was going to turn out to be over 250 people, I believe,
wow.
Yeah.
um, riding through the neighborhood. And the love that we got was like insane. It just lets you know that the community is behind you. Like you sometimes you don't hear it, you can feel it, but you don't hear it. But to actually like feel it, see it, hear it all in one moment was beautiful. So we're expecting to be much bigger this year. Now that the word is like out. It was out last year, but now it's really out.
Yeah.
I think that was like a super proud moment for me, was just seeing everyone enjoy themselves. It was a safe ride, and the turnout was like insane.
Mhm.
I
And,
also
and I
love
would
that
say,
event that you guys did with all men. It was like a health event or something my husband went
mhm,
to. Because
mhm.
he did some
Hmm.
things at that event that he's never done before. So I really love that you
You'll
guys
get some
did
yoga and some stretching. Yeah.
right.
Yes, that is with our partner organization, Sight for Life, where Ahmad, Chris is also part of that organization, where it's focused on men's health. whether it be mental or physical. And so that was an action-packed weekend for us because we did the Cypher event that Saturday, and then we did the Father's Day ride that Sunday. So it's like you get your mind right on Saturday, and then you get your body right on Sunday.
Right.
It's like Father's Day homecoming.
It is. But I'll say one of the things I want to add that I'm most proud of is that we have women members, right? We had women actively want to join us in what we were doing. And, we held a weekly ride in Manhattan, and 40% of that ride typically was women, right?
Yeah.
And that's a testament to I'm proud of it because they felt comfortable and welcome, right? They didn't feel like this is a man's space. I have 5 daughters, right? Like, so I get it, right? Like, where it just doesn't feel like, yeah, this is cool and all. I like what they're doing, but this just feels like a man's space, for them not to feel that way, and for them to feel welcomed and appreciated and valued, and just to have a good time meant a lot.
That's nice.
In addition to all the things that Chad is saying. Yes.
Yeah, for sure. All right, guys. So this is the Oh Hell No podcast. So I always ask my guests to share an Oh Hell No moment. I'm sure you guys know what that is. An oh hell no moment is a moment of shock or disbelief. It could be a positive moment or a negative moment, but in that moment, you are like, oh hell no. So I want you both to share your own oh hell no moments. The moments, though, you learn something from them. They change your perspective or change your life pattern, or these moments kind of, have an impact. So I want you to share a moment that has been impactful in your life in some way. It could be regarding cycling. It could be something that happened that, I don't know, along the journey to this club. Just think of a moment where you were like, oh, hell no, and you learned something from it, and you can share that with our audience. So who wants to go first?
I mean, I'll keep mine to cycling. Cycling comes with a bunch of oh hell no moments for me.
Yeah.
I think the first oh hell no moment was actually putting on like tights. Like, oh hell no, I'm not putting on these tights. You will not catch me in the streets with these tights on. The second oh hell no moment is, you want me to like not wear underwear under the tights? Oh hell no. So those are 2 moments, but they're actually super beneficial. Trust me, you do not want to put underwear under your tights. It is not a great feeling.
Chafing, all that. No.
Yeah, no. But those were defining moments for me because when I decided to put on the tights, that was almost like me saying, like, I'm committed to this. Like, I'm committed to this sport. I made the decision that, like, I'm going to stay down this path. At the time I was, like 200 pounds. Now I'm down to like 170, 175. And it was all because of that commitment. Nice. I made the choice that I was going to commit to the sport. And whatever it took, I need to follow some of the rules. So that was my oh hell no moment right there.
Chad's is great.
Yeah.
Mine was a little different. So my oh hell no moment was when I first crashed.
Oh.
Yeah, and I had to get taken away in an ambulance to the emergency room and all that. Luckily, I was okay, right? I just dislocated my shoulder, and it's still kind of not fully set in, but it's cool though. It works. But it was an oh hell no moment because that was the moment when I was like, oh hell no, did he just really cut off Buddy like that? And it just made me realize how much education is required in cycling. Right. So the takeaway for me was, okay, I don't want this to happen to anybody else. I took the L, so anybody that rides with me don't have to take this L. Right. Like, so that's why what we do, we focus on education. That's why we welcome beginner riders. We can teach you how to ride with a group of other riders. Like, my other oh hell no moment, and Chad knows this because I always laugh when this happens, is people's excrement, right? like inevitably people are like snotting or spitting, right? And it's usually because they're dehydrated, right? And they're laboring cardiovascularly. Oh, we went on a ride and this guy, Keisha, this guy spits in his other guys. It's not
In
funny.
COVID times, in COVID times,
That,
No, in
stuff
that's
like
COVID
that.
real.
time,
Oh, hell
he
no.
spits, and then the spit hit the guy in the face, and the guy was like super like anti-COVID. He was already nervous about coming out anyway,
Yeah.
right? And then now he had somebody spit on his face. On it was like, oh hell no, like it was great. Oh my god, it was. I laugh at things like that because they're just so ridiculous. You know, like
Yeah.
I instead of being upset, I laugh.
Oh my
Right.
God.
But like again, that's that education, right? Like in riding with other people, if you're in the group, there's a certain way that if you do have to spit or have some type of excrement, you go to the back of the group and then you take care of your business and then you regain with the group, right? So yeah, those are Chad. I had the same ones with with the tights. I definitely have the same ones with the tights because culturally, like, we're
Right.
hip hop culture, right? Like we're baggy jeans or, now we're fitted stuff now because we're older and more mature, but still, right? Like,
Yeah.
we didn't grow up wearing like
Yeah.
tights to
Millie
exercise and definitely
Vanilli
not
and
to
MC
exercise.
Hammer, like they wore tights, like we
Right.
didn't wear tights.
Like just a whole, like your whole body out there like that. Like, wait, what? Like,
Right.
no.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like when my husband first came in with his outfit, I was like, what the hell is that? Like,
Right.
what's wrong with that?
Right.
So yeah, I agree. Well, guys, it was such a pleasure having you on the podcast. Please tell everyone where they can connect with you, where they can follow you on social media, what you're doing. If you have any events coming up, we want to know.
Yeah, we're on Instagram, Facebook, Twitter, YouTube. You can find us at Black Watts Cycling. Just search Black Watts Cycling in all those platforms, and you'll see this logo right here.
Yes,
and right here, here we go.
Gear is nice. It's on point.
Yes, and our website, www.blackwatts.cc.
All right. Thank you so much for coming on, guys.
Thank you,
All right,
Keisha.
thank you,
for having
Keisha.
me.